The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
As a former New Hampshire state representative who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King in 1963, he currently serves on the New Hampshire Commission for Human Rights. He's a product of Birmingham, Alabama, where at one time he had to guess how many jelly beans were in a fruit jar just to be able to vote.
We've come a long way, but we're not there yet.
It is his goal to work with you in putting Nashua back on top, to be voted the #1 city in the nation again. Together we will explore the visible laws, invisible laws, and the structures above and beneath our human surface that keep us reaching for the stars, learning how to treat each other better today than we did yesterday.
My name is Harvey Keye, and I want to talk straight talk right here in Nashua, New Hampshire, because you know, as I know, we are in a crisis situation, and that's what we're going to talk about. Hello, Nashua. Good afternoon again. This is Harvey Keye. And I think last time we talked about straight talk. And since the producers and I have discussed this straight talk business, and we had a show called Nashua Strong, we're going to switch it on you today. We're going to call it Nashua Strong because that's what we think. And the reason I think we want to go that way is because Jim Donches was a mayor of this city in the 80s and early 90s, and it was the #1 city in the world to live. Again, in 2016, we have arrived at that point. That time, I had a radio show downtown at WSMN 1590 with the famous George Russell. You know who he is. And we talked about how to make this city strong again. So we're going to do this little trick on you today by calling it Nashua Strong again. I hope you accept it. Well, welcome to my show called Nashua Strong again. And I'm so pleased to see you just before the holidays. And I have something special for you. I am so honored to be joined in this show today with a lady that I met, I won't tell you how long ago. It's been about 10 years ago, I think. And her name is Svetlana Yushtanovich. I'm close. I know that's not exactly the way that you say it, but I said it fast so that I wouldn't make a mistake. Svetlana is her first name, and that's what we're going to stick with right now. Is a proud owner of the unique wine store right here in the heart of Nashua. She's been there for a long time. It's called Why Not? And she is a delightful person who's in business, and she has a nose for this wine business. So let me introduce you to Svetlana. Svetlana, welcome to our show, and I'm so pleased that you're with us. And I'm going to ask you a few questions. And you're not bashful and shy. You've been on TV again before.
Yes.
Probably national television for something.
Yes.
But would you be nice enough to tell us about your heritage and how you describe yourself as a wine and cheese expert? And I have a couple other questions, but if you tell us that, where you're from and how long you've been in Nashua, and how did you arrive at having a passion, and this is your mission in the wine business?
Good afternoon, Nashua. My name is Svetlana. I was born in Belarus. It's a beautiful country, very close to Poland and Ukraine and Russia. And as a small child, I spent almost every summer in Crimea, which was beautiful southern peninsula of Ukraine. Now it's part of Russia. And this place was very famous for viticulture. Crimea has history of 2,000 years old wine production. And as a small child, I had experience of visiting one of the most renowned winery of Crimea, Massandra, which was imperial winery of last Tsar of Russia, Nikolai II. and my uncle worked there. So I would say viticulture and wine was always part of my childhood memories, because when you see your relatives, any family celebration, it's always will be glass of good wine in Crimea. So I'm not sure about northern part of Russia, but in Crimea, everybody will celebrate with glass of wine. So I fall in love with viticulture, and I decided to go to Agriculture University of Crimea when I went after high school. So I studied viticulture for 5 years and decided to do PhD research also in agriculture subjects. Graduated with PhD from Crimean University. I was offered to do associate professor job at college in Ukraine. So I taught viticulture to 700 students. And in 2002, I moved from Ukraine to Philadelphia. And I realized with my agriculture background, it would be very hard to find similar job working in the vineyards and teach about viticulture in Philadelphia. But one of my friends said, like, you know so much about growing grapes. You should learn more about international type of wines. And I thought it was a brilliant idea, because in Ukraine, you won't be able to taste wine from New Zealand or South Africa. And learning about wine, it was like next step of something I truly loved. So I found London-based wine program called Wine and Spirits Education Trust. It's very famous in the world. Studied wine for 4 years, graduated with diploma level, and worked as a wine expert for 2 fine dining restaurants in Philadelphia. In 2007, I decided to move to New Hampshire because when you have small children, Philadelphia doesn't seem anymore fun place to be. Choose Nashua, actually, thinking that I will be looking for some job in Boston in a similar hospitality industry field. But after driving a few times to Boston, I said, forget it. I'm not going to Boston to look for a job. I will find something what I truly love locally. So in 2010, I decided to start my own business, open Why Not Boutique in downtown Nashua on Main Street. It was a very risky decision because, if you know, in 2010, economy was going down. So, and people felt uncertain about economy, and it was very stressful time to open a brand new shop, especially I've never had retail wine experience before. But business is doing well. It will be 7 years this March. Every year we are getting awards, the best of the best wine shop of New Hampshire by HIPAA magazine. Twice Why Not Boutique was mentioned the best wine selection of Greater Nashua by Nashua Telegraph. And the best part about the business, I feel like I can share my passion about wine because we do a lot of wine educational classes, wine seminars, food and wine pairing dinners. We actually travel the world. We organized 4 wine and culinary tours. We went to Burgundy and Champagne region of France. We went to Piedmont, Italy. We just come back from Tuscany a few months ago. We went to Spain, and we will be going next year to Bordeaux region of France and Basque region of France and Basque
Let me
region of
ask you,
Spain.
this is so much. I know you can talk about this for about a week, I think.
Yes.
You have so much information. And we're so happy to have in our midst an expert. Did you hear what she said? She did the university, she taught, and she got a diploma. She worked in the vineyards, and she has a passion for this stuff called wine. Let me ask you this, Svetlana. I say that right.
Yes.
See? I said it right. Svetlana. you travel with a group from Nashua. Is there you have an organization in Nashua, a wine group? How tell us about that.
We travel with our customers because by being in business in 7 years in Nashua, I almost feel like by moving from different country to the United States, you feel that you left your family and relatives and friends behind. And wine community becoming my almost new family. And we have people who join us almost now every year on a different trip. And it's mostly wine lovers.
Are they local people?
Yes, they're all local people from New Hampshire.
From New Hampshire?
Yeah.
There's a wine organization. What's the name of it?
It's no wine organization. It's customers who are Wine Art Boutique clients who also want to join on wine and culinary tours.
Wow.
So we organizing these tours.
The average length of these, not two, yeah. How long do you stay when you go away?
Usually we only stay for 1 week because it's very hard to leave business for more than a week for me and my daughter who is 9 years old. But a lot of our customers or clients will arrive slightly earlier or leave slightly later after the tour. And we will be helping them to book the hotel rooms and provide any additional help or recommendation.
Just let me be a little nosy now.
Yes.
About how many of your clients travel with you to, let's say, France?
So our first few trips, there was a group about 14 people, but the last trip to Tuscany, we had 25 customers.
Wow. From Nashua?
Not necessarily from Nashua,
Hollis,
Salem,
Amherst.
yes.
Yeah, but primarily New Hampshire.
Primary New Hampshire.
Wow. And you have clients in these different, other than Nashua, you have Salem.
Yes, yep.
Are you the only, I wouldn't ask you that question. I'm not going to ask you if you're the only, you can't answer that. That's not a good question. But are you the, how do I want to say this? Are you the, I know you, if I said that, you would say yes. The best wine store, you would say, of course, yes. But what about any other, who's your competitor?
I will not consider any of local businesses in this field our competitor because I feel like we have a very big uniqueness and difference. If you will be talking about local state stores, they're so big and you almost feel like people who wants to come and choose good bottle of wine, they almost left alone because they need to find this wine based if they like this label or not, or look for price category. And majority of wine, if you will go to state stores, very often will be very more familiar grapes. For example, you will see big aisles of Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio or Merlot. But if you're looking for some more unique wine, it will be much harder to find. And it's probably designed in a way that people feel like, oh, I'm familiar with this grape. If I'm looking for this price category, Chardonnay, oh, I like this label, I will buy this wine. Because there are not so many people can help you. And also...
Actually, none of them can help you because
Yes.
they don't know. All they do is stock the shelves.
Exactly.
And I go into the liquor store to look for a bottle of Merlot, and there's a bottle that costs $6.99, and it's this big. There's another bottle right down on top shelf where, you know, it's the top shelf stuff is $16, $20, $22. And I don't really know the difference. And maybe you could help me with this, Svetlana. What's the difference between, let's say, $7.99 or $8.99, a less than $10 bottle of wine and a $25 bottle of Merlot, because I like Merlot?
It's a very good question. I always say the biggest difference in price quality in wine will be between $10 bottle of wine and $20, or $7.99 and $20. After $20, the difference in price quality will become a little bit more less drastic, I would say. So non-expensive bottle of wine, especially from California, extremely hard to produce high-quality wine at $10 price from California, if we will talk about California, because cost of the land is expensive, cost of the labor is expensive. To produce $10 bottle of Merlot, sometimes I'm wondering how much Merlot grape inside of that bottle. I would say it's very generic product. So, but if you talk about $20 bottle of wine, it's definitely will be huge difference in quality.
Would the alcohol content be different?
Most likely, yes, because to produce non-expensive bottle of Merlot, you just need to source for any possible grape area to produce in large quantity wines. But the main difference in $10 and $20, you can do little experiment at home. You can spend $30 total and buy one bottle of Merlot at $10 and one bottle at $20. Open them in the same time, serve on the same type of wine glasses. Pour a little bit in each glass. Try to swirl and smell. So non-expensive bottle of wine usually will have very nice fruity aromas.
That's non-expensive?
Non-expensive. It will smell fruity, simple. Almost sometimes you can say like it smells like grape. It's almost like freshly fermented wine. So you can smell it and leave it on the side, and you can smell more expensive Merlot. Typical more expensive wines, they smell like place, or they call it in French terroir. It's
Say that again.
Terroir. It's like smell of place, smell of the region where it came from,
yes.
smell of the soil, smell of the beautiful lavender if you're talking about Provence, or eucalyptus trees if you talk about Australia. So when you smell more expensive wine, to addition to typical fruity aromas, which is typical for grape, right? Less grapey aromas, it will be, they call it secondary aromas. So when you leave these two glasses for a while and come back in half hour, for example, and if you will smell non-expensive wine, it probably will smell exactly the same. Nothing will change. But more expensive wine will change in a glass when it stays longer. They call it complexity, and this is why more expensive wine costs more, and also will keep you busy. It's more like intellectual wine. You just want to smell it and say, what else do I smell in this wine? And non-expensive wine, you can enjoy it. Maybe they're nicely made Merlot at $10, but it will be more generic and boring. You feel like tomorrow you will buy different Merlot at $10, and it almost will smell exactly the same and taste exactly the same.
I'm really lost. How do you smell a wine? Could you show me how
Sure,
to
I
smell?
brought some open bottle of wine with me to show a little. So in a glass, we have a beautiful Russian River Valley Zinfandel 2012 from California, which was excellent vintage in California. And I brought typical wine glass, which is we served for wine tastings. It's not big glass because usually proportion of the wine in a glass needs to be kind of 1/3. When you go to Olive's Garden and they will pour your big glass of non-expensive Pinot Grigio, you won't be able to swirl and smell because it's just like there's no room for air in a glass, right? It's full with wine.
I'd rather drink it than smell it.
So you should, yeah. So with any good wine, you should always look at the color, because color is a sign of quality very often. Good quality red wine, good quality red wine very often from California will have dark, deep color, which so many people excited about, especially if you spend $30 on a bottle of wine. You don't want to look at cranberry juice.
Would it not, let's say a $10 bottle of wine and a $20 bottle of wine would have a similar color?
Yes. The color will be similar very often. Yeah.
How could you distinguish between the two colors? What would you look for?
Sometimes type of the color can tell you about grape variety. For example, Pinot Noir grape, it's a very thin skin grape. It will produce pale color red wine. Some of them Pinot Noir very, very expensive. So pale color, not necessary, will tell you this is non-expensive bottle in your glass. Also, cooler climate regions in the world will produce wine with a little bit less color compared to warmer regions like California, Australia, normally produced wine with deeper color. So before you will smell the wine, a lot of people love to see legs. You need to swirl your wine in a glass as high as you can and wait for a few seconds. The wine is cold probably today. And you will see the legs will be coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So legs can tell you about how much alcohol, it's almost viscosity in wine. Legs in wine related how much alcohol in this wine. This Zinfandel is 16.4 alcohol. It's very high for many European wines, but it's typical for a good Zinfandel from
Zinfandel is a
California.
European? Is European?
Zinfandel, it's a Californian grape, but for European
But it
wines,
says on it, River Valley.
Russian River Valley, it's in
Yeah.
California, Sonoma. Yeah. So good legs, it's usually
I
a
see
sign
that.
of nice full body wine. So the next step, now you can see them more pronounced.
Yeah.
The next step, a lot
Now
of...
that's expensive.
Yes.
Well, it's $20 expensive for a bottle?
This is $35, so it's considered...
Would you suggest sipping that wine rather than guzzling it?
Well, at this level of alcohol, absolutely. You should sip. Not put in straw and drink
Yeah.
it from the bottle. So a lot of people saying, I have difficulties smelling the wine. What we recommend to do, little trick. You should hold this glass, be with one hand, almost warming up glass, and cover glass with second hand and try to swirl it. So warming up wine by one hand and trapping any aromas by second hand, they make them much more pronounced. And after you will smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Ah, this is it. Oh, boy. And how do you do this now?
You just swirl it. Yeah, hold it like under and and swirl the wine inside. Yeah. Warm up and swirl, and after you can smell it.
Wow.
It's a
That's
huge-
fantastic.
Yes.
I've never known that. Now, if I did that with a $6 bottle of wine,
Well, the aromas should become much more pronounced. Yes. Yeah. Now you can
and
see
you call
beautiful legs.
Yes. Great.
So,
Great. So you teach this in your wine classes when
Yes.
when they're wine tastings at your store?
Yes.
You talk about these kind of things?
yeah, we give people all kind of good information, how to appreciate wine at home, what kind of food to go pair with the wine, and what kind of glassware to use, and yeah.
Do you sell any of the glassware at your
Yes,
store?
yeah, we do some nice, beautiful crystal glasses from Germany. Yep.
And how do you advertise?
We usually have very active Facebook page. We do a lot of advertisement by sending weekly newsletters to our customers every week. So we have a nice mailing list with names.
That's fantastic. So what's your geographic area you think you cover?
We actually have two shops. I don't know if you know about second
didn't.
location.
No.
Why Not Boutique is our original business, started almost 7 years ago. About 3 years ago, we purchased existing location with my business partner.
Where is that located?
And it's located in Hempstead, close to Salem, New Hampshire.
Is it close to the seacoast?
Yes, not far away from Zervina Vineyards, if people familiar
Yes,
with Zervina. It's Route 111. So we have a wonderful clientele in Tingsboro, in Lowell, Massachusetts, and close
you
to
got
seacoast.
three places?
Two places.
You have what's Tingsboro?
I'm saying the customers will come. You
Oh.
ask where the customers coming from. I feel like we are reaching more and more even people from Massachusetts, like Lowell, Tingsboro, coming to us, to Nashua. and people from Concord and Manchester.
Well, it seems to me that wine is not relegated to the people who can only afford $8, $9 bottle of wine or $6. But it's sophisticated.
Absolutely.
It's an art form. The kings and the queens use. Is champagne a wine?
Absolutely. One of my favorite type.
What kind is that?
So I always say champagne, it's one of the most sophisticated wine because it has beautiful, beautiful tiny bubbles, which makes everybody happy. I always say I have the best job in the world because I only deal with happy people. If somebody will not come happy to wine out, they will leave happier for sure.
That's great.
So champagne comes from very cool climate region of France, and it cannot be produced like every year the same. Like a lot of wines, you will see vintage 2013, or 14. It's mean when this grape was harvested. A lot of champagne will call it.
Is that when you have the date on it like that?
It means the year when they harvested the grape.
The grapes, not when the wine was made.
The typical wine will be bottled in March, but the grape will be harvested in September, October, and yes, it will be process of making wine begin as soon as they harvest the grape.
But usually it's about March when they start making the wine?
No, March it will be, many white wines will be bottled in March, and red wines will continue to be in a cellar, in oak barrels, resting inside
You
of the
have been a wine
barrels.
at your place from oak barrels?
The many wines aged in oak barrels.
It tastes like oak?
So many of them has flavors of oak, which is not necessarily taste like oak. A lot of different type of oak can give flavors of toasted almonds, roasted coffee.
You have that in your store?
I do.
You have cheese to go with it?
We have beautiful cheese to go with it.
What kind of cheese would you use with this Zinfandel?
Zinfandel considered full-body red wines. It's not sweet like dessert wines, but a lot of Zinfandel will be described as a fruity wine. So fruity wine will give you sensation of sweetness. So in one of the classic pairing, it will be sweet and salty. So beautiful blue cheese and Zinfandel will be excellent together. Because richness of the cheese will complement richness of the 16.4% alcohol wine.
Do you cater?
We do some private events at our location. But yeah, we teach a lot of classes. We do a lot of dinners. But
Like, for instance, if the mayor is going to have a party.
We don't do it people's houses. We have a consultant who work with us because in New Hampshire, you need to have a special license to do private events at people's home. But if somebody purchased wine and if I'm available and they ask me to come and talk about the wine, few times I did it, but I'm becoming a very busy person between traveling, organizing wine dinners, wine classes, and running both shops.
Now you say wine dinners?
Yes, we do a lot of wine dinners.
How does that explain? Talk about it.
We do a lot of beautiful dinners. We partner and ship with Crown Plaza Hotel in Nashua because they have beautiful facilities. They have a Hans Club room, which is a room up to 70 people. It's their private dining room. And they have very talented chef. So Todd Lythan, the name of the chef. And we do a lot of events with winemakers coming to town. We'll be actually doing one possibly in February and one possibly in March, but I don't want to give away this information because two guests coming to New Hampshire, it's not fully confirmed if they will be able to make it.
How do you get that information out to the general? You know, I would imagine, you know, this is the first time I've known you for at least a few years, and I knew that you went to the wine business. And I've been trying to get in. I come to your shop frequently.
Yes.
to taste your wine and eat your cheese.
Yes.
It's delicious. But I didn't know you were doing all these kinds of things. I'm just wondering, how can we help you get the word out to more people, of course, through this television show and your advertising in the media. You use that. But I'm just so astounded by the fact that I didn't know, and I shouldn't be astounded that I didn't know about wine, because I like that. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know that I could swirl it around and smell it and know the difference and see the legs coming down and understand that I have a very fine wine. And is the alcohol content in those lower price wines less than 16? Because this is 16.
Well, you can find full body red wines for non-expensive price, but when you taste this wine, feel free to have a glass. So this wine, 2012 vintage. It means this grape was harvested in 2012, and right now it's the end of 2016. This wine probably spent about 2 years resting in the oak barrels first to get this unique, extra beautiful flavors and also to become a little bit softer in style. And after, this wine will rest in a bottle before it will be released. So for a lot of high-end, high-quality wine, they will not release wine on the market until it's ready. So by drinking this wine, you will never guess it's so much alcohol because it's become part of the wine. So if you will buy non-expensive yellowtail Shiraz, which is considered full-body red wine, which is like, I don't know, $10 for a big bottle or something, it will give you almost effect when you buy a new bottle of perfume. When you open perfume, the whole alcohol will be sitting on the top of the bottle, and it will become such a strong smell because alcohol in non-expensive wine will not be part of the wine because this wine was quickly made, extracted juice and bottled and released and sold in large quantities. It's just almost will give you burn sensation inside of your mouth.
It separates.
Exactly. It's not part of the wine. It's by itself sitting on the top of the bottle.
And if you say that, then I look at that as the supernatant and the substrate. The substrate doesn't have the alcohol because the alcohol is on top.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's not the fine wine. It's almost like this daily beverage for, and there's so many beautiful non-expensive wines you can find, but you just need to think a little bit, I would say, outside of the box. Instead of buying Merlot and Cabernet, you should find maybe some less known grapes like Carmenere from Chile, or some wines from South Africa, or there's some beautiful wines from Spain, very reasonably priced because...
In the liquor stores?
In general, you can find at grocery stores, but it's very hard to find from California a non-expensive bottle of wine for $10 high quality because the land in California is not cheap, but there's so many regions in the world still has like undiscovered treasures, like again from Spain. It's such a nice warm country, produce very healthy grapes, old vineyard at reasonable price. For example, good champagne typically will be $40 and higher. I brought these bottles of sparkling wine. It's from Brazil. Brazil becoming a very new hot region for sparkling wine. A lot of champagne houses will be buying vineyards because a lot of vineyards located very high in the mountains, and this is made in traditional champagne method, $22. So it's a high quality wine for $22. Or I have a beautiful wine, Pinot Noir from Czech Republic. Who will think the Czech Republic produce wine? But they have very old history of making wine. And this wine, you will see this Knight of Templar sign.
Yes.
It was like beautiful story about this ancient history related to this winery and phenomenal Pinot Noir.
You can't
will
buy
be-
this at the market.
No, it's all unique, available at our shop. Hard
What
to
what
find.
would this cost at your shop?
$19.99, under $20.
And most of your wines are between.
We have a beautiful selection of wines. I would say $12, $14 at the starting point, but it's all very high quality from unique regions. And we have wines up to $900 per bottle.
I'm
So
sorry.
$900 per bottle.
I know you didn't
And
bring in
you'll
the
be
you didn't bring in the samples of that.
No.
No. Okay.
You'll be surprised to know this $900 bottle of wine is made from white grape Sauvignon Blanc from Aubryon, very famous winery in Bordeaux region, France. So
Wow.
we have from $12
Folks, did you
to
hear what this lady is saying? A bottle of wine right here in the heart of Nashua, $900. Now, Christmas time is coming.
Yes.
We won't say that anymore about that, but you know, Why Not is right downtown on Main Street, and we have the expert in wines right here in our midst, and this is such an education and such a delight to have her talk about the nuances of wine and the alcohol content. And let me ask you this. There must be the number of brands in your store. I know in the supermarket, there, I don't know how many. You know, it's just like, it's
Thousands.
just thousands.
Overwhelming.
How, I won't ask you how you make money, but it's so competitive. Or is it is competitive? I mean, somebody, they wouldn't be there if they weren't making money.
I would say what people love about our shop, our selection is much smaller, but every bottle of wine has a beautiful story behind. We tasted every single bottle which available at our shop. And I always say to my clients, if I don't like wine, I don't want to bring it because I will be embarrassed to recommend this wine to my customer. If I personally won't be able to drink this wine because it's not good, I will not bring it because this wine will sit on my shelf forever. And I want to bring high quality wine at good price. And also I would say it's my unique background because I have PhD in agriculture. I know the best places for grapes. And by being a wine expert for 2 high-end restaurants in Philadelphia, when you're a food and beverage director, he doesn't care about your PhD. For him, he wants to bring wine which people will be happy to pay maybe double, triple markup in a restaurant business. So something at retail shop for $12, usually at the restaurant will be $25 to $35. So you need to find high quality wine at good price.
And that's a segmented market.
Yes, so the value of the wine is phenomenal when you find good region, good grapes, small producers. They don't need to bottle 20 millions of cases to push it all over the country. So we more specialize in boutique, unique, high quality, good price wines.
Folks, you just got to know that in addition to being number 1 in the world, well, not necessarily number 1, we're in the top 20, we're number 16 in the world of any city to bring up a family and live. And we also want you to know that no other city has a
Svetlana. I'm
Eh,
the only one.
She's the only wine expert in New England. So you hear me. No one who has this background that this lady has, and right here in our midst, and I don't think a huge number of us know that. And I think a lot of people in the Nashua area, we got about 90,000 in our audience. I hope all of you are listening. Take a look at Why Not downtown Nashua, and you get a chance to speak with that Lana. It's not Landis, it's Lana. And she is from Russia, and she has brought all of this fantastic intelligence to our doorsteps. So I'm going to ask her a couple other questions, and we're going to come back again. But we want to just know, she's downtown, what is it that she thinks in her expertise can, what is it that she brings to the downtown Nashua area that is appealing and attractive to those who love Nashua? That's a big, ugly question. That's not a nice question. But I think with your background and your travels and your mission and your passion for this wine and for this industry and for the hearts and minds of the people in our audience, you could give us a pretty good answer. It's a big question.
Yes, it is a very big question. I mentioned before, when you moved from different country, you almost like need to rebuild your career, start new family, find new friends. And Philadelphia was my first place in this country where I used to live for almost 5 years. And I liked Philadelphia, I liked diversity, I loved culture, I loved fine dining experience. And when I moved to Nashua in 2007, I felt like, oh my gosh, this downtown, it's only 5 minutes to walk. This is the place I'm going to live now.
This is where you wanted to land.
Yeah, but I just love Nashua, just like, if you love nature, it's just wonderful place to live. You're 1 hour from the ocean, 1 hour from the mountains.
Wow.
If you like fine dining, you can go to Portsmouth. You can go to amazing restaurants in downtown Nashua, which is growing. You can go to Boston. And I love feeling of community. Sometimes it's overwhelming if you want to go to grocery store and quickly like some jeans and t-shirt and people say, hi, Svetlana, how are you?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a wonderful feel like part of community to go to Greeley Park with your family.
As the politicians say in this country, in this state, this is a community. It's a neighborhood.
Yes.
And I mean, you could go across the street and shake hands with one of your representatives.
Exactly.
And shake hands with one of your senators. Or you could go and have breakfast with the mayor right now. Is having breakfasts, not breakfast, but coffee in a coffee shop. What a fantastic idea.
To connect with people.
My God. Yes. And boy, what a beautiful place we have here in Nashua, New Hampshire, to make it number one. We're number one. We want to push that. We want to celebrate it. We want to tell the world that we're the only city in the world who's had this fantastic, enthusiastic, vibrant shake-up of calling us number one in the world to bring up a family. And I'm so pleased to live here. Like I've been here like 40 years, but boy, you bring something different to the table, and we're so happy that you're here. Let me ask you, and again, we're gonna wind this up a little bit, but I want to get this in because we need in marketing, the marketing business, in any marketing business, we need 3 things. We need appeal, we need attraction, we need persuasion before we get to trust.
Yes.
That is the imminent 1, 2, 3, 4 in marketing. So what is it that our downtown could do to bring more traffic to downtown Nashua? That is, in your opinion, and I'm going to take this to the mayor. I know the mayor pretty well, so I get a chance to talk to him. What is that we could do to make downtown Nashua more appealing, more attractive, and then persuade some of these knuckleheads to come downtown and see what we have rather than going out to the distant malls. We want to shop local, buy local, deal local, and keep our place as wonderful as it is. Just a few thoughts.
My few thoughts, I will be on Main Street for 7 years, and when Why Not Boutique was open, I felt like Saturday we had free parking, and right now, like there are few areas in downtown Nashua.
Saturday we had free parking.
Free parking when Why Not was open.
Why did we have free parking?
It was originally before until situation was changed. Now it's not free parking on Saturday on Main Street, but there are some places are free parking. But I feel like sometimes it's unclear which one is free, which one is not free. The parking sign, and sometimes our customers complain about the parking machines only take cash, how many people walking around carrying quarters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Some of them out of order. And I feel like to bring more people on Saturday, because Saturday now we have such an amazing diversity of businesses. Judge Appel for breakfast and
Yes,
Fresh Boutique for a nice, beautiful outfit for your mother or wife or daughter, and Why Not Boutique for wine tasting. And I feel like so many people stressed about this whole parking, and now
So
it's
parking
winter.
is a problem.
I feel like it was just would be nice maybe on Saturday to have free parking. I don't know, maybe 1 to 5 or something.
Do you think if we
people
could
feel, even it's not big deal, maybe find parking on this little side street, but for people who wants to come downtown, they feel like, oh, it's winter, it's cold, now needs to look for parking and walk 10 minutes to my
Yes, yeah.
destination. So I think it's
You just don't want to come downtown and park for 10 minutes to get a ticket for $10.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. You know the mayor is into Nashua. He's been here. This is his
Yes.
third term.
Yep.
So he loves the city. And we have to go to the Board of Aldermen to do some of the things you're talking about. Now, I'm on a tear about loving Nashua. I love Nashua. Nashua is my second home.
Yep.
I call it my home. And I am willing to take your message to the mayor and the Board of Aldermen about parking. And you don't have to write anything at all. I heard what you said. Some of the meters are not working properly. And on Saturday when it's busy and people are coming to shop, they don't need to be afraid
Yes.
of going in to pick up a garment or a bottle of wine and spend $10 on a ticket.
Absolutely.
And if you would agree to allow me to do that, I would happily do it.
But even if we cannot do, I know like there's a huge improvement in downtown Nashua because they use this parking money to plant flowers and free and posters. Maybe we need just more clear signs about where to park. If it says reserved parking, maybe it says like reserved from 8 to 5, and after 5 it's many places it has free parking for reserved spaces.
Now, we're just
But it's,
talking about Saturdays. This is just Saturdays.
yes, I
Yeah.
think Saturdays will help a lot if it's possible.
If we made it free,
Yeah.
all parking downtown free, I don't think that's a journey that we can't take. It's an odyssey.
It will bring much more people to downtown, and more people like Why Not will make more money, and it will benefit everybody.
Yes. What do you think the American downtown has done for the vibrancy of downtown Nashua?
I think
Paul Shea is the guy's
Paul
name.
Shea, he is doing incredible job. He is a person who will run extra mile. If some Christmas tree doesn't look straight next to Fresh Boutique, he will come and fix it personally. I just feel like he brought so much excitement by putting so much energy, enthusiasm, and you see more and more unique, smaller type of events happening in downtown Nashua, not necessarily like big Taste of Downtown or Winter Stroll. We see much bigger diversity of events related to live music
Yes.
or cultural.
It's a continuum
exactly.
of activities and interests and stuff
Yes.
going on downtown that a whole range of ages,
Yes.
Young people
Absolutely.
to elderly people who are, am I elderly? No, I'm
No,
not.
not yet.
No,
Keep
no,
drinking
no,
good
no.
wine.
I'm drinking good wine. I'm not elderly, but I'm getting there. I am so pleased that you have brought that up because I get a chance to speak with the mayor's office pretty frequently, and I am involved with this city up to my neck in terms of making it just what it has been advertised throughout the world, that we are one of the best places to bring up a family. And we're working with the police department about drugs. We're working with the politicians about all kinds of stuff. And I think inclusiveness is the name of the game. Inclusiveness is the name of the game, I think. In some cases, there are obviously other adjectives and verbs to describe what we need to be doing. But we need to be talking about this stuff. We need to keep it on the table. We need the business people downtown to keep coming here and talking about what they see, just like that. See that? See? You always bother me about, am I talking to Vetlander about this? Well, listen, it's been such a pleasure having you. It is my distinct honor to have you again. And let me get my little script here together. And I don't need a script really, Vetlander. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and your business and bringing this differences. And you know the other thing, we embrace differences. We need to embrace differences more. And we need to, the more diverse we become, the stronger we become.
Absolutely.
We are now still working at Nashua Strong, TV show right here in downtown Nashua. This is a Nashua Access, Channel 96. I know Dick is going to kill me. I didn't say all of it right, but that's okay. He's killed me before, so it's okay. I want to thank you so much for your coming to us in our audience. Please welcome Lana, and why not downtown Nashua. And she's brought us such a fantastic amount of education and interesting stuff about wine. Wine is the thing of the season is coming. And just have a very, very, very happy and safe and beautiful holiday season. And I could say Christmas if I like. This is America. It's a freedom of speech. Some of the politicians might not like that, but you know what? I really don't care. Thank you so much. See you next time. This is Harvey at Access Nashua with Atlanta from Why Not downtown Nashua, talking about wine. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a former New Hampshire state representative who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King in 1963, he currently serves on the New Hampshire Commission for Human Rights. He's a product of Birmingham, Alabama, where at one time he had to guess how many jelly beans were in a fruit jar just to be able to vote.
We've come a long way, but we're not there yet.
It is his goal to work with you in putting Nashua back on top, to be voted the #1 city in the nation again. Together we will explore the visible laws, invisible laws, and the structures above and beneath our human surface that keep us reaching for the stars, learning how to treat each other better today than we did yesterday.
My name is Harvey Keye, and I want to talk straight talk right here in Nashua, New Hampshire, because you know, as I know, we are in a crisis situation, and that's what we're going to talk about.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.